order, and we will start with the approval of the consent agenda, including the minutes from the September 19th planning board meeting. Is there a motion to approve these?
I make a motion to approve the meetings of the last time.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's passed. We have a public hearing in 6:05. So do we want to go through the variance request first?
Sure.
Sure. Can we do it in 5 minutes? If not, we'll just recess and come back to it. We have a variance request from Robert and Jennifer Rozak, and I don't know exactly, except they want to build something too high, is the way I understand. Higher than it's supposed to be.
Higher than an accessory building is supposed to be.
Supposed to be, that's it, yeah. But not higher than the house, right?
Correct. And much lower than if I attached it to my house. So.
So do we need some information on this before we?
So they have applied for a variance. They're out on South Street. They have a corner lot. The requirement for height in the R1 district, which they are in, is 16 feet to the peak. They're going to exceed that. They'd like to build a detached accessory structure, 18 feet 2 inches, so they're over 2 feet 2 inches. They can maybe expand on why they need that, but according to what Robert and I have talked about, he'd like to put in an automobile lift. He does his own mechanic work on his own personal vehicles, also has a small hobby of his own. It will not produce into some commercial business. And the other thing is they're looking at an automobile that needs a 10-foot door because there's some type of a carriage on top of the automobile that is attached to it. But because they exceed the 16 feet height limitation, they have the right to appeal that ordinance, which they are doing in front of you tonight, and ask for a variance. Your job tonight then is to work through the report and findings and make a recommendation to council, which is the Board of Adjustment. They will review that on Monday night, and they will set a public hearing for November 28th.
That was going to be my other question. I thought we would need to have a public hearing.
But they will hold that.
We don't have to.
But one thing that has a lift, and that's why the building needs to be so high.
Correct. I'd like to put a 2-post lift in.
Yeah.
As she said, I do like to do my own work. I don't think I've ever paid anybody more than, I mean, I can do motors, I can do transmissions. I've also noticed that as I get older and I started wearing glasses, I can no longer lay on the ground and work above my head. I get sick to my stomach. So I kind of need a lift to get up. The lift I'm looking at is 12 feet 2 inches tall. And so in order to stand it up, you need like 12 and a half feet to get the stand up at the center, at the peak of the building. My wife is a travel nurse, so we're looking at getting her a high roof Sprinter van, and then I'd like to convert that into an RV in the garage. And that vehicle is 9 feet 2 or 9 feet 4 inches tall, so I need a 10-foot door.
Yeah.
So in order to get a 10-foot door in, you need another 1.5 feet for the header. That gets you to 11.5 feet at the ceiling, and then I'm actually paying quite a bit extra to have scissor trusses put in the building, so I can get the peak inside high enough to get the lift in. And the lowest that I've talked to 4 or 5 different builders, and the lowest I can find is with the specs that I need or would like, is 18.2 inches. And as Jennifer told me, if I can attach it to my house, then the restriction is 35 feet. And I'm asking for 2. So,
There's just no way to attach it to the house.
yeah, it really wouldn't be very convenient to do that. My lot already has a curb cut up in the south part of the lot for a garage or for a driveway, and that's kind of where I want to put it to line up. I don't know if you guys have the little printouts I had. But
Yeah.
We do.
yeah, so you can see kind of where the curb cut's already there. It lines up decently close to where the garage doors would be. And if I move it up to the house, now I got some weird little driveway going on.
Someone's good.
Have you looked at less expensive options as far as putting the roof the other direction and putting in support walls?
Actually, if the roof would go the other direction, I think it would be 20 feet, 5 inches. If the roof went this way
Yeah.
versus,
So it wouldn't be high
it
enough.
would actually be higher, yeah.
Actually be higher than what he has now.
Because then it would be along the 45 foot instead of the 32.
We have to recess for a few minutes for our public hearing, and we have a hearing on a billboard conditional use permit. And I know the sign people are here, and I don't, is anybody else here about the conditional use? Probably not. It's kind of out there with not much around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not too many neighbors worried about it.
Yeah.
So, if there's nobody here for the hearing, we already know that they're just putting it in the corner out there on the corner of Lake Avenue and 55. And they were here before, so. Nothing else for the hearing, then we will close the hearing, open the meeting again. But before we move on with yours, we'll finish their conditional use permit on page 40 of your agenda.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
this is pretty close to where science and I did that today, and I wasn't sure I'd be bringing in the docs and stuff.
okay.
That's pretty close. We do have a surveyor coming out, check some things out. Sure.
So what happened is we thought that we could encroach over the XL Energy easement just because it was high, and that kind of stuff. But after lots of discussion, they said no. So,
Not surprised.
yeah, so we had to move it a little bit that way. So that's why.
Anybody have any questions? Since you weren't here when they were here before, Katie.
Well, I have read through it, but I didn't hear the discussion, so.
It was just basically where the sign was going to be put. I believe.
We'll be meeting all the ordinance requirements of the sign ordinance,
Oh,
so,
very good.
yeah.
What is going to go on the sign? Do you,
Not really sure.
Hopefully a local business.
we would hope so.
Yeah, we will too.
So we will go through our findings of fact and make a recommendation. And I will read through them and we'll answer. The planning board, having reviewed the application for the conditional use permit and having heard the request of the applicant along with public comments, which you received any, offered at the public hearing, finds as follows. The conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity, will be injurious to the use and enjoyment.
What do you say?
What do you say? Will not. Katie? Will not?
I am going to abstain.
Okay. And The establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for the predominant uses in the area, or will impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of the surrounding vacant property. It's vacant property at this time. Will not.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Number 3, there are adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities. Are not adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, or other necessary facilities. There are.
Yep.
Okay. And adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent any issues with odor, fume. This is a sign.
Yeah, I know.
Dust, noise, and vibrations, so that none of these issues will constitute a nuisance. And the plans provide for control lighting in such a manner that no disturbance in the neighborhood will result, or have not been or will not be taken to prevent any issues with odor, fumes, dust, noise, and vibrations, so that none of these issues will constitute a nuisance, and the plans provide for control lighting in such a manner that no disturbance in the neighborhood will result. So, that have been. Okay. Number 5, proper facilities are provided which will eliminate any traffic congestion or traffic hazard, or are not provided and will not eliminate any traffic congestion or traffic hazards. Proper facilities are provided.
It's a sign.
It's a sign.
Yeah.
There is a demonstrated need in the community for the proposed use, or it is not a demonstrated need in the community for the proposed use. Use. Always. You agree, Randy? The proposed use is in compliance with any relevant land use plans adopted by the city or is not in compliance. In compliance. Based on the foregoing findings of fact, the Planning Commission makes the following. The Planning Commission hereby recommends that the conditional use permit to allow the placement of an off-premises sign billboard on that certain parcel of property described as follows: Lot 1, Project 55, under provisions of City Code Chapter 36, Section 36 to 53 and 3610, is hereby granted. All in favor of that? Katie?
I'll abstain.
Okay. If granted, the conditional wellness will be sent on to City Council now for approval. So the motion to approve the Modest billboard report and recommendation of the planning board on application. Motion. And Randy is second. Right, motion's been made and seconded to approve the billboard report and recommendation to the planning board to the city council. All those in favor?
Aye.
Katie, you abstain?
Katie abstained. All right,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
So the council, goes to the
Next
council
Monday?
Monday.
Sorry, same time.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Thank you very much.
Reality stuff gets after that, yeah.
Okay, back to the item number 4.
Back to you guys.
Okay, then I'll just add a little bit extra. We've been here in Painesville for 21 years. The home that we live in now has a single car garage. And I'm gonna say that for at least 18 of those years, we park our vehicles outside in the winter because we just don't have room in the single car garage. By the time you put a couple lawnmowers in there and our little mopeds and scooters, there's just no room to put them. So we've got 2 cars sitting outside all year round. And when we had kids at home, then it was 3 or 4 sitting outside. And then if we get the speaker van for her and she's traveling, well, there's all of a sudden this big RV sitting there. We'd like to keep that in the garage.
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody have any questions for them? Any further questions?
No.
Comments? Okay, we can go through our findings and facts before it goes to recommend to the council for the hearing on it, which your all neighbors will get a letter on when it's time. So the planning board will need to work through these and make a recommendation. The planning board finds that strict enforcement of the zoning ordinance in this instant would impose an undue hardship, would not impose an undue hardship. No, it would.
It would.
It would. Because if we made them follow the ordinance guidelines, they couldn't build that size.
And need to provide it because,
Oh, yeah, that's right, because they couldn't build it as needed. Does that sound good?
has to be more specific than that, like,
We'll come up with something. I know.
no, because what they said, they're parking their vehicles outside, and by adding this new vehicle, there'll just be more cars.
And it has to be that high
For the lift, yeah.
Accommodate.
for the lift
And to
and
accommodate the
the-
vehicle
and the
itself.
vehicles.
So what did you write, so I can make sure I get that in the notes?
Jim.
I don't think so.
Has to be that high for the lift and extra vehicles. For the vehicle height
Yeah.
and vehicle height. Okay. An undue hardship as used in connection with the grant or denial of a variance means that the property in question cannot be put to a reasonable use under the conditions allowed by the zoning ordinance. Economic conditions alone do not constitute an undue hardship if reasonable use of the property exists under the terms of the zoning ordinance. The owner's use of the property would be unreasonable or reasonable. And why?
It would be reasonable for what was said in the first one. Would, because of the height and the
Height.
lip.
Height of the vehicle and the lift. This one good?
Well, I say it because you only have one garage, right?
One small garage and one strong.
So you said it was reasonable or unreasonable?
I said it was reasonable. I think, unless I'm getting confused, which is easily done.
No, the use for what they intend on having, yeah, is reasonable.
The landowner's difficulty requiring a variance for this property is due to circumstances unique to the property and not caused by the landowners, or is not due to circumstances unique to the property, or which were caused by the landowners. It's a very poorly phrased.
Yeah, I mean, I satisfy everything except
The height.
the lot size, setbacks, everything.
Yeah.
So A or B?
Neither. Well, the landowner's difficulty requiring a variance for this property is, sounds like it should more say the landowner's reasoning for requiring a variance for this rather than difficulty.
Well, is the variance caused by the landowner or the lot? Is the variance needed because the landowner wants to do something or the lot's in a predicament? That's
The
what I'm
landowner.
asking.
Right. So it's B,
Mhm.
the way it's,
Because,
because the need for additional garage space that requires higher vehicle and lift. Okay. Number 4, there's only 5. Number 4, the planning board finds that the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality or will alter the essential character of the locality.
it's not higher than the house.
No, it's not higher than the house. I don't think it will alter it.
So that's A.
A,
Because,
because it's in alignment with other structures. How's that?
good.
I had to do all this stuff. Better when Bill did it. The variance if granted will be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan, or will not be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan. We're not in harmony with the general purpose. Correct, Jennifer?
You are right.
Yes, that's what I thought. We're not in harmony because they're asking for, that's why they're asking for a variance.
Because,
Because,
see, this one has all the becauses in it.
yeah, if we didn't have to have all these becauses, it would be a whole lot easier. Because,
I think the becauses are good.
well, yeah, it explains it to the others that aren't here tonight. Okay, because, will not be, because it is
You have to let me know what you said there.
so far I said it is.
Oh,
That's as far as I've gotten. It is, I don't know, higher.
Well, it doesn't meet the,
It just doesn't mean the zoning ordinance,
it's
yeah.
not higher.
on height, but like they said, the setbacks are all met.
Right.
Is higher than zoning permits. Zoning permits, but meeting all other requirements. Zoning requirements. Okay. If you didn't get it, I got it.
I got it.
And Target. Therefore, the planning board recommends that the request for variance be granted or denied.
Does it have to be unanimous?
No.
It does not, but you have to realize that the questions you just answered, if any of them were in the negative, the answer should be denied.
I think what we need to do at some point is go through this whole variance process, because there's some things that happen like this that seem like a no-brainer, like they should just be able to do it. And I think that there is too many, I don't want to say zoning ordinances, but there needs to be some leeway for regular people, you know, so.
But you can make a recommendation however you wish.
Yep.
Because we're making the recommendation to the council.
Mhm.
And there'll be a hearing besides. And you can explain even though, you know,
Well, I think the last one that you just did kind of explains this. This is higher than the zoning ordinance, but it meets all other setbacks.
all other zoning requirements are. Yeah. What is your wishes, folks, for the motion?
I think it should be granted.
Does the city council go through that same process of,
They will go through all what we did.
okay,
And they'll read it and ask questions and it'll be discussed. All right, we need a motion to approve or deny the report and recommendation of planning board on application for variance and recommend such to the city council.
I recommend that it be granted.
Okay,
I'll second.
the motion's been made and seconded to approve the application for variance and recommend such to the city council. All those in favor?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. That motion passed, and you'll be back at a council meeting and hearing the end of November.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Okay. Next. That's what you're here for, Nick, huh? All the rest of them?
Except for the Centricare one.
Yeah, I figured maybe not Center Care. He hasn't moved to that neighborhood yet. Okay. We need to set hearings, is that what we're doing? Or do we need to go over what rezoning that for this property that you're purchasing?
It's already purchased.
It's already, yeah, you purchased it, yeah. And it just needs to be rezoned,
All three.
all three. We have to do each separate.
So you purchased all 3 properties in a row? Those houses that are there?
One done, we just purchased the drug house.
So it was a rental?
It's abandoned.
It's abandoned.
The rental still.
So if you look at pages 19, 27, and 32, Avon Plastics, or partners in Avon Plastics, or independent people related to the Avon Plastics business own 113 Garfield, 209, and 205 Garfield. You'll notice that 113 Garfield is the former MnDOT property. They would like to rezone that so that they can put up a warehouse. They are out of space on their current property, which is directly to the east of that lot on page 19. The lot directly below that, owned by Ann Properties, is 205 Garfield. Currently, they have a rental property on there. They would like to continue to rent that property out. They did an invasive remodel project a couple years back. And they rent that property out, but they'd like to use the back of it for their commercial entity, their commercial business. They'd like to fence it, use it for parking, some open air storage, things like that. And then 209 Garfield, which is the lot beneath that, that is where there is an empty rental house. There had been some illegal activity going through that house. They would like to demo that house within the next 30 to 90 days. Correct me if all this is wrong, or if I'm missing something, Nick. They want to demo that house and use that entirely for their business. The rental house that's above that one they'd like to use that for rental for the next up to 5 years, and then they'll probably be down, and all 3 of the lots will connect, be combined under one entity, and rezone probably all industrial. So their business is expanding, they're landlocked. So right now, we want to rezone the 2 residential lots to C2 with the intent that, the homes are going to come down at some point and they'll probably go industrial. And then the large 113 Garfield, which is the former MnDOT property, rezone that right into industrial that matches their other property to the east, so that they can build their large warehouse. So they have a lot of moving fingers going on, but they're expanding and they're growing,
And basically, we have to set public hearing.
you are just setting public hearings tonight, yeah? Did I miss anything there?
Oh, you did awesome.
Well, Lincoln and I have been working on this for a little bit, but
Well, it's first, another step in the call. Okay, we need a motion for the first one, and that is to reset the zoning from C2 highway commercial to I1 light industrial. And that would be set for Monday, November 21st at 6:25 p.m. Okay, Josh?
And I second it.
And Randy. Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to set the WDR rezoning public hearing for Monday, November 21st, 2022 at 6:25 p.m. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passed.
Katie, did you abstain?
I am saying no.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, one nay.
We have a lack of housing within our community, and I'm sorry to say that, but anytime you take houses out of first-time home buyer situations, then there's less housing.
This piece was never housing.
this piece currently
This
is
was
already
never
commercial.
housing. This was always commercial.
The next 2 are the residential
Next
ones.
two. Yes.
Okay.
You want to change your vote?
Yeah, I'll change my vote to yes.
All right, and the next piece is the one that has a rental house on it right now, will continue to stay that way for a little while. Motion to set the properties LLC rezoning public hearing Monday, November 21st at 6:15.
And I just-
This one we're changing from
This one is going to go from R1 to C2.
to C2.
And I just want to make a note so that hopefully this will help Katie. Residential use is now allowed in C2. So this will continue as a residence for as long as they see fit it be under R1 or C2. So this residence will stay as long as up to 5 years.
And they have that, because they own the property, they can choose not to at some point. Changing this won't change it. That's all that is. So we need a motion to set the AM Properties LLC rezoning public hearing for Monday, November 21st at 6:15. We're going backwards in the time.
I'll make a motion.
Josh? Motion?
I second.
All right, Randy will second it. Motion's been made and seconded to set the public hearing for Monday, November 21st at 6:15. All those in favor? Aye.
No.
Okay. And the same with the next property is going to be converted from R2 single two-family to C2 highway commercial. And this one, they're going to demolish it because the house is needing to be demolished.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
And I second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to set the ND2 Properties LLC rezoning public hearing for Monday, November 21st at 6:05. We went backwards. All those in favor? Aye.
No. And the reason being is because when I look on the other side of the road, it's neighborhood, it's houses. And so I just worry about, the houses on the other side.
Okay.
What part of it?
Well, because it's a residential neighborhood and we're changing it.
It's commercial now.
Garfield, yeah.
Everything in Garfield on the right side, Katie, is commercial.
But there's houses there and you're extending the commercial over.
One's abandoned, they're selling drugs. Is that really?
Yeah, she's talking about across the road.
Yeah, these are,
Uh,
does that come, I don't know.
Folks live there.
Yeah, I know that, but why would you want a house there that's abandoned where they're selling drugs
Yeah.
in a nice neighborhood? It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me.
What was that?
And it's abandoned now, there's mice, there's bats, windows are open.
Progress happens in neighborhoods that are aging, I understand that. And I understand progress, I just have concerns about taking homes out of stock and nothing against you.
No,
It's just-
But there's also commercial on that side of the road too.
Yeah, there is, yep,
In the corner there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Warm feels
Yep.
yep,
But we have the hearings all set,
Yep. Thank
yes.
so we're all good on that.
you. Do you need an extra set of plans or no?
It's very exciting you're expanding though.
Okay.
Well, thank you. So we're kind of landlocked. If this doesn't work, we might have to move back.
Yeah,
That's what we don't want to do.
yeah, no, we're glad that you're here.
I know. Thank you. We're glad we're here too.
Keep on moving forward.
I'm just a troublemaker, so.
There has to be one in every group.
I guess.
Well, we gotta have, yeah, we're good.
No, Katie, you bring balance.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's good to have another perspective.
That's right. Thanks.
Take
You
care.
bet. Okay, Center Care needs another public, rezoning public hearing. What do they need rezoned?
Okay, so if you look on page 36 and 37, you will see the 36 outlines the property in question. That irregular shaped lot is owned by CentraCare. However, it is currently zoned R1. And they want to rezone it so it matches the rest of the CentraCare facility, which is C2. Because 99.9% of it is parking lot.
I was gonna say, why?
So we would not want that in residential, we would want it to be zoned C2.
Yeah, so they're gonna,
Yeah,
Then, once it is rezoned, they will combine it with their main campus,
oh.
because it's sitting as its own separate parcel right now.
yeah.
It's a safety thing too,
It's,
being right on 55.
You know, not so much safety, but just to clean things up, but they're really trying to clean up just the entities with with CentraCare and the ownerships, kind of like, you know, them getting out of the senior living and assisted living. They're just trying to clean up their parcels. This
Yeah,
has
that's
been this
all.
way
it probably should have been rezoned when they bought it. But who knows how long ago that was? They just.
way before my time.
Well, they just absorbed.
Well, the other thing was, is, you know, they were using it, you know, the garages and probably some of that parking for the apartments, which, you know, they have sold off now, but they want to retain this as part of their main campus.
Is that where the garages are?
I'm sorry?
garages over there?
No, we kind
The garages, I believe, are going to stay, they are actually going to stay with the main campus also. They are not staying with the apartments, those garages. So if you'll look on page 38 and just tip it, you'll see that the garages are not within the dark black line of the apartment complex. So Premier is only getting enough footage to make it a compliant building on the lot coverage. So the parking lot, parking spaces, green space, and garages will all stay with the main campus.
Okay, so, anybody else have any questions? Jennifer knows more about it than the rest of us. Talks to them all the time. We need to set a hearing for Monday, again, another one. That's what we're gonna be doing all evening that night.
I'll make a
Hearings.
motion.
Okay.
And I second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded to set Center Care Health Painesville rezoning public hearing for Monday, November 21st at 6:35 PM. All those in favor?
Hi.
That passed. Okay, guys, next on the agenda is a suggestion for members. I have given Sean a couple of them.
I gave him one as well. I don't know who else.
Okay, I just brought it to the board because we hadn't really discussed it since Bill's resignation, so I gave you some time to think about it, so I just thought I would bring it forward, and any names you have, you can give to Jean or myself or Tarek, and we can get it to the mayor.
Yeah, I gave one to Sean, and you gave him a couple? Okay.
Of course, he hasn't, I don't think, asked him yet,
Oh.
that I'm aware of. I don't know. So if anybody has any ideas, they have to live in the city limits
Yep.
on this committee because it is a planning and zoning. So,
Well, it's a fun board to be on.
it's interesting.
Well, I went to school for architecture and design and drafting and all of that, so I understand all of the
Really fits.
things, yeah.
Building permit report is informational.
It is. We did not have the big influx that we, usually typically have in September. However, we were a little bit busier than we probably were the rest of the year. I think I just issued a permit for 101, so we're right at that 100 mark. I would suspect if the cold stays, we're probably not going to be much over that 100 mark for this year. We do have some outstanding permits.
Yeah.
And as soon as I tackle a couple of projects that I have on my desk, we will be sending out expiration letters, like the 2019 permits. It makes no sense for us to have 4 years of permits open. They will just get a nice letter that says your permits have been expired, and if the work is not done, you'll need to apply for a new permit and pay the fees. Because if there's no activity within 6 months, we have the right to expire the permits.
Yeah, we should.
And that's what's going to happen.
This has been more than 6 months.
It has. And the 2019 people have been in contact, a fair amount of the 2020 people have been in contact. Rindals have a couple there. That was a massive project. I think they pulled like a half dozen permits to try to get that all completed. So we are on top of those. And then if we go into the newsletter, we always attach that. It gives you an idea of what Dolly is up to. And the licensing and just tidbits of information and fines that unlicensed contractors get and cease and desist orders and things like that. And then I will need a quorum for the 21st because we'll have 4 public hearings. So
Yes.
hopefully people are not out hunting.
Well, as long as we have 3,
Yep, just need a
we're
quorum.
good. So check your calendars.
And then,
Don't get sick.
Okay, sorry. I lost my voice.
Katie brought up a really good idea about having maybe a working session, maybe not a formal meeting, but maybe a working session on variances and conditional uses and rezonings and lot splits. And I think I would like to maybe bring somebody in from the league to do that.
Yeah.
Is the winter a good time to do it? Would you like it in an evening? Would you like it during the day?
How long would this be so they can know what?
I don't know. This is the first I've heard about it 20 minutes ago when Katie said we probably should maybe learn more about it.
Yeah. no,
So the problem that I keep coming across when we go over those is that we don't meet those requirements, and legally, if somebody were to come back and sue us, there's a legal obligation for us to answer those the proper way. And so that's why I'm staying on those items, because legally we shouldn't be doing that. And so there needs to be some kind of middle room or some way that we can make it so that we can vote yes confidently without putting ourselves in a legal bind, and I don't know if that's possible, but it's something that we need to discuss, I think.
Well, 99.9% of the variances that have been approved in the 22 years that I've been here should have all been no, based on my training and experience. But we have a extremely passionate and giving council and planning board for all the years that I've been here, and they've approved them. And you're exactly right. The minute we possibly could deny one, they could say, well, you approved the last 50 of them. However, I think if we were to deny one, we have the ordinance to stand behind us that says we can deny it because the height says 16 feet. We can deny it because the ordinance says the setback is 20 feet. But we need somebody to deny the first one.
But that's the whole point of a variance, is so that otherwise we just say, okay, here's the ordinance, you can't do anything different.
They have the right to appeal, because I've told everybody that you've seen since I've been the zoning administrator, that if I was on the board, I would say no, according to my training that I've been provided. Because you can't confidently answer those questions. You can answer them correctly, but on the height one, you answer 2 of them in the negative.
Yep.
So 1 negative puts you in a denial. So, and I think that would come, maybe that would be easier to chew on or absorb if it came like more in a training class. So you know how to handle those situations, because you still have to go to church with these people and go to the grocery store and whatever. But it is what it is. Katie is correct. You are. And the other thing is, we have a brand new ordinance. So, when Katie says there's got to be some middle ground, we just adopted this. It's not even a month old yet. It's not even going to be a month old until the 22nd of October. And we spent close to 16 years on this. So, we either have to amend the ordinance, but we're not going to amend the ordinance for every situation that comes in front of us. So we either have to stick by the ordinance that we adopted, or
We do variances,
we do variances.
because there is no middle ground, it's either it is or it isn't.
And what's happening is when you're answering your variance questions, they all should be in the affirmative for you to be able to pass it. Like, the lot is obscure shaped. There's a 25-foot easement on there where you can't build over, so you needed to push it, that's why you can't meet the setback. Excel Energy said, no way, you can't be in the easement. Something like that where the landowner has no control over. 90% of the variances that come forward, the property owner has control over. It's a wish, it's a want.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not always easy to sit behind that podium and say, no, I did that.
What do we do with lot splits then?
So lot splits are a little bit different. Lot splits, that is a little bit more community oriented, because we want to make sure that when they split the lot, they're not making something non-conforming. I told Brandon Peach, every time I met with him, you're creating a non-conforming structure. Our ordinance says you can split a lot. Unless you are creating a non-conforming structure, then you can't do it. We did. The ordinance says it is not allowed.
Yeah.
So, Bill Spooner, if any of you would like to come to a variance public hearing night, Bill Spooner will sit next to me, which is the city attorney, and repeat what he's repeated for 22 years. Again, council, this is a variance that's been created by the landowner, not the property itself. It should be denied. And the council will go ahead and approve it. And Jean can vouch for what I'm saying. So,
It is true.
Okay, well, find out if the,
I'm going to see if Jed Burkett will come out. I'm going to see if there's an expense. I'm going to see if some of the other smaller communities might be interested in joining us.
yeah. well,
Maybe we could spread it out to like Eden Valley or Cold Spring or, you know, so in case there's a fee, or maybe he could come, but just to get a little bit of feedback from you, would daytime be better, nighttime be better? Is there a certain day of the week that's better? Looking for a little feedback.
Evening, just because I work.
Okay, so evening is better, okay? A day of the week? Not Mondays and not Fridays.
Yeah, that's good. Not Monday, not Friday.
And not most of Thursdays.
And that's
Most Thursdays, that seems like a.
what? Okay, so maybe a Tuesday evening?
Yeah, Tuesdays.
And is 6 o'clock a good time, or can you meet a little earlier? Travel time from work, things like that? 6, 5, 5:30? 5:30? Okay.
Okay.
I'll see what I can do. Jed Burkett is the guy that I have been trained under. He is the League of Minnesota Cities land use attorney.
Well, we should push them to make sure we have another member on the committee that could come too.
It would be nice that everybody could be trained at once.
And actually, we probably should have some of the other council,
Absolutely.
because it's not always going to be the same person.
No, and you are only giving a report and recommendation. So whatever report or recommendation that you provide them, they can trump it either way.
Yeah,
You're just giving them a recommendation.
Yeah.
so really the council should be there too.
So we might have to do it maybe right after the first year.
That'd
We'll have
be
new
best.
council assignments.
Yep.
We might have our new 5th board member.
That's
Is
what
that-
I'm thinking. We can work on Sean to get somebody appointed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And there's might be other communities that are in the same predicament we are in, and maybe a small class. I know they offer it, and we've offered it to our commission members in the past, where you go to St. Paul or it's online, but we haven't really had anybody bite at that. So maybe it would be easier if we brought somebody here. That is right in front of your face, you can't leave, you can't make any excuses. How does that sound? Then
Yeah.
everybody maybe can sleep better at night.
Yeah, let us know what days and times.
Unless you want chickens, then it would make you worry more.
Well, maybe.
Are we adjourned?
We are adjourned.
The next meeting will be
November 21st.
And there's a cybersecurity training as well. I think that's probably something that might be of interest.
There is some cybersecurity training that would be open to governmental units to attend.
No, through the League of Minnesota Cities, they hired somebody
Okay.
for cybersecurity.
So that I might pass on to Tark, because he's kind of our IT person. So maybe visit with him after the meeting about connecting for that training.
Yeah,
Perfect. That's outside of my wheelhouse.
any learning on that is good, so, especially for cities, so.
Okay.
Especially the cities that have water.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe that's something that our public works director.
Yeah, well,